Hey, it's Thomas Mulready from Cool Cleveland. We are online right now with Jeff Steziak from Stoli and Mark Kawada, the general manager of Pier W. Gentlemen, thank you so much for breaking away and spending a few moments.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we are promoting this program called We've Got Proof. It's a tasting program, and they're calling it Bourbon 101, which I think is a great way to do it to get people started with bourbon. It's Cleveland Independents, who is probably the largest group of independent chefs in the country. And they do a lot of stuff besides events like this. But for now, Jeff, talk about Stoli. And I was looking at the list of your brands. I mean, you've got Stoli Vodka, of course, the flagship that everybody's familiar with. You've got Elite Vodka. You got Kentucky Owl Bourbon and Wiseman Bourbon, which are what we're talking about here for this program, two top line bourbons. And then Bayou Rum, Gator Bite Liqueur, Cenote Tequila, the Via One Tequila, Sebusca Mezcal, the Tulchan Gin, the Pathfinder Hemp and Root, which is a hemp-based non-alcoholic spirit, the Acabal Ferrer wine, and the Arenzano wine. So you've got a whole line. And you've hosted some of these Bourbon 101s in Cleveland already, haven't you? At places like Capia, Black Door Tavern, Creekside. Tell us how these events roll. What can people expect?
So previously, what we've done is we've done a food pairing with the bourbons that we've used, and we infused some of the bourbons and things like that into what we were trying to the flavor profiles that we're trying to create, so that not only does somebody get an experience with the bourbon or the whiskey itself, but also how it infuses into the food. So it's a all senses experience, and it's something that really gets customers and patrons really excited because they can try things that they might not normally try, and gives them the opportunity to see if they want to buy something. And then it also offers them the opportunity to try some foods alongside it to see how they blend. So it's an exciting event and it's fun. It's a kind of an intimate evening that a lot of people have a lot of fun with.
Right. These are like 4 or 5 courses, and each course you've got really paired with, in this case, a bourbon from Stoli, right?
Yeah. So what we try to do is we'll try and find some sort of common ground with the food pairing menu with the chef or with the general manager, similar to Mark. And what we'll do is we'll take each bourbon or whiskey that we're trying to highlight, and we'll find a food pairing that pairs well and highlights the bourbon, but also highlights the food. Sometimes the
Right.
bourbon can actually be infused into the food or sauce or something like that. Sometimes it can't. Sometimes it's just a pairing.
Right, right. Yeah, and Mark, I want to hear what you're pairing here, what you got planned from Pier W. You're the GM there, general manager. I think if people don't know who Pier W is from around here, I don't know where they've been under a rock for what is it, 60 years now, since
Uh,
1965.
yeah,
Amazing food. You got those great views, all right, that view of downtown Cleveland. And I was looking at your award, Silver Spoon Award 2023, Award of Excellence from Wine Spectator 2023. It blows my mind. And also, I should mention, participating is L'Albatros, another major restaurant here, Zach Brule, who's been at the forefront of Cleveland's restaurant scene with legendary restaurants throughout the years. But Mark, what menu are you planning to sort of pair with these two bourbons that Stoli's going to be bringing?
so we take the approach. We're taking the approach of like what we do with wine dinners, but with the bourbon. The fun part about this is that I got all the bourbons in to taste. We got chefs together, and we try to use each of the bourbons in each of the courses. So, we have a honey bourbon glaze. In one course, we have an old fashioned jelly that we're mixing with the venison that we made. So it was a really fun time. We have all of our chefs and cooks involved, which they were throwing ideas out on what we should do. And then we started experimenting with it, and we've come up with this menu, which I think is, for what the cost is, people are going to be getting really nice bourbons. Wouldn't you agree, Jeff? I mean, they're getting
They
some.
sure are.
I
They
was
sure are.
telling.
They're gonna get some high quality stuff. Some people
Yeah, right.
that people are chasing after. They're collector's items. So this is gonna be quite the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
And
we were talking about wine 101. You're going to get, yeah, bourbon 101. You're going to get actually like bourbon 400, class 400, because of these bourbons
Yeah.
are a little higher than the 101 that you would get into, but
Yeah.
you know, most of the time, I'm going to go on tangent real quick. Most of the time with wine, you have to kind of move people from something sweet or whatever to something like a really dark red. I feel with bourbons, you don't have to do that. You can just start right at the top, and you know, move however you want to go. So I think the bourbons we have from Kentucky Owl are just amazing.
I would agree. This is going to be more of a graduate course, a bourbon 400.
Yeah,
Exactly. You get a master's degree in bourbon by the time you're done with this. Yeah. And I love what you guys got going at Pier W. Things like a crispy seared Ohio pork belly. And again, you're pairing that with a honey bourbon glaze. So you're pairing that with a bourbon. You got a fish course, a bronzini. You have an entree course, a char grilled venison tenderloin. And then you come back with a dessert course, the dark chocolate ganache. And each one is paired with, I guess, either the Kentucky Owl or the Wiseman. Is that how it's kind of going to roll here?
Yeah, there's only one. The first course is the Wiseman. The other three are Kentucky Owl.
Gotcha.
And you know, of course, of the main course, we're going with the big bottle of the Bayou Mardi Gras Kentucky Owl.
Wow.
And we've actually, like I said, we've used, like, even in the smoking process, we're using a little bit of bourbon in the smoking process of the bronzini. So we're using almost, I'm pretty sure, almost all Kentucky Owl. That's great.
That's awesome. And I should mention L'Albatros has an amazing lineup as well. I think they've got 5 courses with they're starting with Bruno's cheese, a smoked French toast for their second course. They've got a poached flatfish for their fish course, and then they've got a steak au poivre, and then a honey vanilla baked Alaskan to top things off. And again, each one of those paired with one of the Stoli bourbons, either the Wiseman or the Kentucky Owl. Yeah, I mean, Jeff, talk about the best way to taste a bourbon. I had experience where we found ourselves on the bourbon trail in Kentucky. We were on a vacation. We were kind of lost, honestly. We ended up stopping in and doing a tour of one of the distilleries. And it was really eye-opening, you know, to see how it's made, and then to come to the tasting room at the end and to just learn how to taste, breathe through your nose and get some air going, put it on your tongue and hold it there. And I ended up picking up a couple of bottles and bringing them back. And now I think I've got a collection of like 50 bourbons, honestly, just because it's fun to do. We have friends over and we taste, you know, we're not drinking a lot, but we're learning how to taste. But talk about the best way. The only thing I know is the ABCs of bourbon, the basic stuff. A, it's got to be American, right? B, it's got to be in a one-time, first time only charred oak barrel, can't be used the second time. And C, it's that 51% of corn. But beyond that, what do you recommend?
Well, look, I mean, the ABCs is really, you know, your first starting period in, and that's a good way to start, right? But you know, when you talk about bourbon and you talk about tasting bourbon, really tasting any high-end alcohol, it's really an art form, because what you're doing is you're taking the alcohol in, or in this case the whiskey in, you're trying it, but you're blowing off all the alcohol, whether it's through your nose or through your mouth. Like I said, it's an art form. And once you do that, that's when you really truly get the flavor of the bourbon, the true flavor of the bourbon. And that's where, if it's a higher corn content or a higher barley content or a higher rye content, you will see the different flavor profiles based upon that. But that's not going to happen until all those alcohols are blown off either through your nose or through your mouth. Those are all important aspects of tasting bourbon. And that's where the connoisseur becomes what they do, because whether they like rye or heavier corn, a little sweeter. That's where it comes from.
Yeah, exactly. Mark, you have been a member of Cleveland Independents for a number of years. You were just saying, and they do other things besides events like this. They do Cleveland Restaurant Week, which we'll have coming up here and towards this November, December season. They do marketing, field trips. Have you participated in any of these? They do field trips sometimes to the chef's garden, where you guys source a lot of your vegetables.
Yeah, it's a great group of chefs. The best part is that it's the best chefs in the city are part of the organization.
Yeah.
You know, you get to share ideas and share things that you only do in the restaurants, that you know about restaurants. You know, everybody sees the restaurant, but there's a lot that goes behind the scenes that a lot of people don't know, but you only know if you're in a restaurant. You know, we do trips to like Chef's Garden, you know, where you get to try some of the Midwest, not Midwest, but some of the world's best vegetables that are produced out near Sandusky there. So it just brings together a whole bunch of creative people. And I think when you do that, you come out with great organization, great ideas, and start to do great things together.
Right, right. And we should stress that the bourbons that you're going to be bringing are really high-end, limited edition things like the Kentucky Owl Confiscated or the Bayou Mardi Gras XO casks, you know, the Takumi, right?
You know, we're going to do this dinner and they're hard for even me to get right now. So,
right. Yeah.
You know, and we're doing the dinner, but yeah, I mean, you talk about high end and we talk about going to graduate level bourbon. That's what's going to happen there.
That's so cool. Well, we'll look forward to going to graduate school with both you guys at these events here and taking our taste buds to a new level. Thank you, Jeff and Mark, for taking a few moments here and getting us all excited about this.
Thank you.
Looking very much forward to it.
Thank you. Hey, it's Thomas Mulready from Cool Cleveland for Cleveland Independents.